Hello everybody, my name is Kailash Parshad from HackProKP, and in this video we will talk about peer-to-peer and client-server architecture. If you want to learn ethical hacking and penetration testing, please consider subscribing. So without any further ado, let us start with the video. Application architecture. The application architecture is designed by the application developer and dictates how the application is structured over various end systems. Both P2P and client-server architecture can utilize protocols of the application layer of the TCP/IP model. Peer-to-peer architecture. In peer-to-peer architecture, computers or nodes communicate with each other on equal footing. There is no central server controlling the communication. Instead, each node can act as both a client and a server. P2P networks are decentralized and are often used for file sharing applications such as BitTorrent. Now we'll talk about the key components of the peer-to-peer architecture. Peer. A peer is an individual computer or device that participates in the P2P network. Each peer has equal status and can act as both a client and a server. Peer initiates communication, share resources such as files or processing power, and contribute to the overall functionality of the peer-to-peer network. Tracker. A tracker is a centralized server that helps coordinate communication amongst peers in a P2P network in certain P2P systems, like BitTorrent. A tracker maintains information about which peers have which part of a shared resource, example a file. Peers communicate with the tracker to discover other peers in the network. Seeder. A seeder is a peer that has a complete copy of the shared resource, example a file, and is actively sharing it with other peers. Seeders contribute to the distribution of the resource by providing complete copies to other peers. They help improve the availability of the resource in the network. Leecher. A leecher is a peer that is in the process of downloading a resource but may not be actively sharing the complete resources with others. Leechers primarily download the content from other peers. Once they have the complete resource, they become seeders and contribute to the distribution. Swarm. A swarm is a group of peers that is actively sharing and downloading parts of a specific resource. A swarm collectively works to distribute and share the resources effectively. Peers in a swarm communicate with each other to exchange data. Distributed hash table (DHT). In some P2P systems, a distributed hash table is used to decentralize the tracking of resources and peers, eliminating the need for a central tracker. DHT allows peers to locate and discover other peers in the network without relying on a central server. It provides a distributed and scalable way to manage information. Overlay network. An overlay network is a virtual network that is built on top of the underlying physical network, connecting peers in the P2P network. The overlay network facilitates communication and resource sharing among peers. It allows for direct communication between peers, bypassing the need for a central server in some cases. Key characteristics of P2P architecture. Decentralization. No single node has complete control, and each node can initiate communication. Resource sharing. Nodes can share resources directly with each other, such as files or processing power. Scalability. P2P network can be easily scaled by adding more nodes to the network. Advantages of P2P architecture. Redundancy. No single point of failure. If one node goes down, other can continue to communicate. Scalability. Easily scalable with addition of more nodes. Resource utilization. Nodes can directly share resources without relying on a central server. Disadvantages of P2P architecture. Security. It can be challenging to manage security in a fully decentralized environment. Coordination. Coordination and organization becomes complex as the network grows. Reliability relies on the availability and reliability of individual nodes. BitTorrent. The middle computer acts as a seed to provide a file to the other computers, which act as peers. Now we will talk about how BitTorrent works. File distribution. A user who wants to share a file, seeder, divides it into smaller pieces. Peer connection. Other users, peer, connect to the seeder and each other, forming a swarm. Upload and download. While downloading parts of the file, a peer can also upload the parts it has to others. Advantages of BitTorrent: redundancy. If one of the peer goes down, other can still share the file. Scalability. More peers can join the network to share and download files. Disadvantages of BitTorrent: security. Ensuring the integrity and security of shared files can be challenging. Coordination. Managing the decentralized network and ensuring efficient file distribution of old files can be very difficult. Client-server architecture. In a client-server architecture, communication is structured around clients and servers. Clients request services or resources, and servers provide these services. This model is more centralized compared to P2P, with a clear distinction between the role of clients and servers. The HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol is a fundamental protocol used for the World Wide Web. It employs a client-server architecture where web browsers clients request web pages from web servers. Key components: clients initiates request for services or resources. Servers listens for client request and provide the requested services and resources. Here the server needs to be turned on all the time. Key characteristics: centralized control. Servers control and manage resources, providing services to clients. Specialization. Servers are specialized for particular tasks and clients use these specialized services. Reliability. Centralized control can lead to better management and reliability. Now we will talk about the advantages of client-server architecture. Centralized control, easier to manage and secure compared to P2P networks. Resource management, efficient resource management with specialized server is possible. Security, centralized control can provide better security measures. Disadvantages: scalability. Scaling may require more powerful servers to handle increased client requests. Single point of failure. If the server goes down, clients cannot access the services. Cost. Setting up and maintaining servers can be costly. Web browsing. We can see that the client is trying to communicate with the server via the internet. Now we will see how web browsing actually works. Client request. A user opens a web browser and enters a URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Server response. The browser sends an HTTP request to the web server specified in the URL. Data transfer. The server processes the request and sends back the requested web page, HTML, images, etc. Rendering. The web browser receives the data and renders it for the user to view. Alright hackers, that's a wrap for today's session. If you found value in this video, please leave a like, share it with your fellow hackers and comment below your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that will propel your hacking journey to new heights. Thank you for joining me today on HackProKP. I'm Kailash Parshad. Until next time, happy hacking!